If you hadn't noticed, the garage gym space has gotten pretty crowded lately with lots of companies throwing their hat in the ring with all kinds of products, some of which are good, some of which aren't so good. And a lot of these companies aren't going to make it, let's just be honest. However, there are some who are going to make it. And what I've noticed is the people who make it in this space all have a couple of things in common. So that's what we're going to talk about today on the GymCrafter podcast is what do the companies that succeed all have in common? What do they do right? And I'm going to give you guys 7 companies to look out for in 2025 that I think are going to make big moves and become some of the most successful companies in our space. Welcome back to the GymCrafter podcast, everybody. My name is Tim. I am the head gym nerd here at gymcrafter.com, the website that I built to help ordinary folks like you and I build home and garage gyms that we absolutely love. And as always, part of building gyms that we absolutely love is buying gear that is cool, right? And there's a lot of companies out there making some really cool stuff and doing some things that are unique in the marketplace. And there's a few companies out there that I think are doing a much better job than others. So like I said in the intro, in this episode, I want to go over 7 companies I think we should watch and keep an eye on because I think they're doing some cool stuff. I'm going to tell you who they are, what I think they're doing right, and some products that I think they either have out now or that are coming out. They're going to help them get a foothold in 2025. As we do in a lot of episodes, we're going to start with an update. And today I want to give you an equipment update. And instead of me sitting here talking at you, I want to give you guys the world's worst garage gym tour. Hello and welcome to the world's worst garage gym tour. So the reason it's the worst, there's 2 reasons. Number 1, I don't have a gimbal, so please excuse the shaky handheld camera and all that kind of stuff. And also, this is going to be a garage gym tour of the stuff that either I'm going to have or that I have and is still in boxes, but I want to give you guys an idea of what's coming up in 2025 for GymCrafter, the reviews that you can look forward to, and also kind of show you my strategy for the year, because I really wanted to focus on some things that you guys asked to see, and there's a bunch of stuff here that's only here because you guys asked to see it. So let's take a quick look around the gym and then we'll get back to the podcast. So we're going to start over here, and over here is where my rack is going to go. So as you guys know, I've been waiting a while for the rack. I did talk to the company yesterday. It's probably not going to be here till February. Now, the bad news is it's not going to be here till February. The good news is that the reason it's delayed is because I'm going to be getting all of the new cool attachments that they are making for their racks, and there is some cool stuff that's going to be on this rack. So I'm excited to get the rack. I'm not excited to wait, but as you'll see, I've got plenty to keep me busy in the meantime. We're going to come over here and stop by the barbell wall, which you guys know I love. Top 4 bars are American barbell bars. I still owe you guys a review on the Grizzly Power Bar, which is up there. And then we've got the Delta Power Bar by Rep, which I owe you a review on. And then I've got the Living Fit Cerakote Bar, which is that and the Delta are going to find new homes very quickly. I'll show you why in a second. Then I've got the Bells of Steel Hydra Bar and my abundance of bands and things like that. So over here, down at the bottom, I've got one of my favorite products ever, which is the Exponent Edge Flex Wedge. You'll get a review on that. Back in the corner is the Exponent Edge landmine jack. You'll get a review on that. And here's the reason why I'm selling 2 barbells. I've got 2 Rep Fitness bars that I haven't seen anybody review yet. We've got the Black Canyon bar and I forget the name of the Badlands bar. So the Black Canyon and the Badlands bar. Those are 2 barbells that you guys asked for reviews on. I haven't seen any other channels do. I've noticed that a lot of channels like to review things that are just the highest price point items. So I want to try and bring you guys some of the stuff that's more affordable, but still from the better companies. So that's what those 2 bars are. You'll be seeing reviews of those bars, as well as a complete guide to selecting the Rep Fitness barbell for you, because I've pretty much had them all at this point. I've got a couple of benches there, my AB 5200. Here is the FB 5000, which I also owe you guys a review on. And then I have on the way, I have a Titan Fitness kind of real, I forget what they call it, some type of a tank, or it's not the buzzsaw, but it's their fixed flat bench. And I'm going to do a comparison because actually, disappointingly enough, there's some stuff that I really don't like about this Rep Fitness bench. And that's unusual for me to say about Rep Fitness benches, but I think there's some definite room for improvement on this bench. The color's awesome, but there's some functional things I don't like about it. So yeah, there's that. I'm going to come over here to my brand new Bells of Steel cable tower, which I owe you guys a review on. So I really like this. I got the weight stack version, love it. Here is the full set of Mag Grip knockoffs by Rit Fitness, and I owe you guys a review on that. I also bought a Mag Grip just to compare it to the industry standards, so I will do a comparison review as well, or at least throw those two together for you. And then I also have Bells of Steel is sending a bunch of attachments for review, and I've got some other attachments that I'll be reviewing as well. So tons of reviews on the cable stuff coming up. And just a quick note, nope, mine is not bolted to the ground, nor will it be, but I'll show you why in the review. And then right here, I'm super excited about this. This is the Porter Phys Ed lat pull down attachment. I haven't installed it yet as much as I want to because I need to shoot the video on the cable tower first before I attach it. So once I do the video on the cable tower, then I will do a separate video on Matt Porter's lat pull down. If you're not familiar, check out his page, Matt Porter, or Porter Phys Ed, I believe it is, on Instagram. And he's got some cool stuff in the works as well. So I've got his leg holder and the lat pull down there. Over here, these are stuff that you guys asked for. So notice I've got a lot of stuff to get you. So over here, I have the sled tread. And this is a manual treadmill that is designed to simulate pushing a sled. As you guys know, I sold my Torque Fitness sled and I've been looking for a replacement. I mentioned in a couple of podcasts, I was looking at the Zebex ST6000, which is like a $3,000 treadmill. And I had a ton of you guys reach out in the comments and via email and ask me to actually review something that's more affordable. So I think the price point on this is right over $1,000. It's right around $1,000, if not maybe a little bit low, I'm not sure. But they were nice enough to send this to me for review, so I'll be putting this through its paces. And then also, this is by the Tib Bar guy. So back here, I've got his version 2 of his Nordic extension. And then I also have here, I've got his Tim machine and his slant stack. So this is gonna pair in with my training in 2025. I'm really excited to share with you guys. Tune into the next podcast, which I'm gonna go over what my training goals are for 2025, as well as some of the programming I'm going to introduce through GymCrafter for garage gym folks. But I'm gonna train to be a better athlete next year and a bunch of different things with the knees over toes guy training. And all of that's gonna go towards that. Back in the corner here, I have my Fringe Sport Mammoth Belt Squat and Kickstand. Those will get reviewed whenever they get attached to the rack when that comes in. So excited about that. Here I have the entire Freak Athlete Nordic Hyper Pro everything. So I've got the unit, I've got the GHD, I've got the leg extension, I've got the upper body kit, I've got all of that. The guys over at Freak Athlete sent this to me, so thank you to those guys. And I'll be doing some side-by-side testing. I told both of these companies that I would be putting them head-to-head, and both of them were up for it. So I'm really excited about bringing that to you. And so I'll do some individual, and I've got some really cool, you guys have seen enough videos on this Freak Athlete to know all the stuff that it does. I've got some unique stuff planned for you as far as videos go that will hopefully help you if you're kind of still on the fence, make the decision of whether or not it's a good worthwhile investment or whether something half the price might be a better choice for you depending on what your training needs are. So that's all stuff that needs to be unboxed, assembled, tested, reviewed, unboxing video shot. So tons of stuff coming to you there for content. Over here, I have the, you've seen this all over the internet too, but this is the RitFit, I can't say RitFit today, the RitFit leg press, leg extension machine. And I honestly think this might be the best thing that RitFit makes right now. It is turning out to be really solid. There's a couple of things that I don't like about it. I do not raise that back pad anymore just because I'm tall and I don't think you need to. I think RitFit could make a flat back pad on this, not an actual seat. But anyway, you'll see all that in the review. I love it. I use it all the time. And then over here, you have my absolute favorite addition to the gym. You guys have seen me make videos on this before. I have a much longer video on the works for this. This is the Force USA leg sled. Up there on the wall, you see the bands that I use for it. Once I figured out how to put bands on this thing and how to band it effectively, this thing is amazing. It's literally my favorite thing. Every time I get off of it, I think to myself just how good it is. So there's some content coming on that. And then over here, we've got my dumbbells. And I have a surprise this year coming for dumbbells. I think these guys are over 10 years old and I will probably be selling them. And you guys won't be able to guess what I'm replacing them with. And I'll give you a hint, it's not the Repins. So I think the Repins, with the price increase, may have priced themselves out of the value that they once were. You know, the benefit of adjustable dumbbells is they typically cost less than a set of fixed dumbbells, and they no longer cost less than a set of fixed dumbbells. So I may be going with the set of fixed dumbbells. That's the only clue that I'm going to give you. So that is the world's worst garage gym tour where I show you everything wrapped in boxes that I still have yet to review. But with that, let's get back to the podcast. So there you have it, a bunch of cardboard boxes in a garage. Great gym tour, right? I told you it was the world's worst garage gym tour, but hopefully that'll change as I get all that stuff put together and I get to start training on it, which is what I'm looking forward to doing, and bringing you some content of how does it hold up and how does it last and how does it compare to other stuff. As you kind of saw by the tour, my strategy this year is I want to bring you guys stuff that you're not seeing on other channels, but unlike what I did in 2024, which is bring you stuff that a lot of channels had, but just was accessible to all the budget stuff. I want to really focus on things that I think are a good value for you guys, and then things that I'm not seeing a lot on other channels, like those rep barbells and like the sled tread, and the stuff that you do see on other channels. I want to try and bring it to you in a way that helps you make a decision of whether or not it's right for your gym. I really think that not only are there a lot of equipment manufacturers out there, but there are a lot of YouTube channels out there right now. And really what they're doing is they're saying, here's a product, I just took it out of the box, here's what it did, and then that's the last you ever hear of it. And I don't think that that necessarily always helps you guys make a good decision. So that's gonna be my focus. I've also got like I mentioned in the video, a kind of a renewed focus on my training in the upcoming year, and I can't wait to share that with you guys. So I know a lot of you guys are in the same situation that I am and have a lot of the same goals that I do, and I really wanna help you guys hit those goals, because all of the gear in the world is great, but if you don't know what to do with it and you don't know which gear is going to help you hit your specific goals, or even how to hit your specific goals, then that's not going to be any help at all. And that's actually what the next episode is going to be like. So if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. The next podcast episode, I'm going to go over how to actually hit your 2025 fitness goals, not on how to set goals. I think there's enough yahoos out there trying to tell people how to set goals, and most of that information is garbage. I want to actually help you guys with some strategies and things that I've seen work for some very successful people actually hit your goals. But let's get into today's episode and talk about the companies that are going to make a splash in 2025 and why they're going to make that splash. And for me, the two things that the really good companies in any space have in common, number one is innovation, right? As I mentioned, there's a lot of Me Too stuff out there. Like I've got 2 Nordic benches here in the gym. There's at least 4 to 6 other companies making those. It seems like anytime somebody comes out with something that's popular, everybody and their mother makes one, right? Like the combination leg press hack squats, Smith machines. Somebody comes up with a good idea and then everybody else copies it. And some people iterate and they do a better job. And some people just make crappy knockoffs and try and take advantage of a trend. But there are some companies out there, and some of the companies we'll talk about today are those companies that are coming up with new and innovative ideas, things that are different in the marketplace. And so I think that's one thing that's really going to set these companies apart, is the ability to differentiate themselves. Because when our space is as big as it is now, and this year Home Gym Con is massively bigger than it was just 2 years ago. It's just, I think there's over 110 vendors at this point. It's 3 times bigger than last year as far as the floor space goes. So this industry is growing really, really fast. And like I said, the way that you're going to differentiate yourself on the floor of a Home Gym Con or on the marketplace of the internet is to come up with stuff that's kind of cool. The other thing is, and this is something that I learned from a past job, which is putting your customer first over profits. And what I mean by that is, first of all, let me get something out of the way. All companies are entitled to make a profit, and all companies should strive to make a profit. If you're not going to do that, you shouldn't be a company. That's why you start a company in the first place. That's why when I do these podcasts and I put the affiliate links down below, and by the way, there's going to be affiliate links down below, and if you click on those, I make a little bit of a profit. Doesn't cost you anything extra. That's how I kind of run this business and pay my bills. And I would be remiss if at least part of my focus wasn't on bringing in revenue so that I can continue to do this for a living to help all of you guys. But my first priority is to help you guys. And the good companies out there know that if they focus on profit first, that's going to come across to their customers. Now, they may still make some good stuff, but that's a very short-term strategy. The companies out there who are focusing on what's the best for the customer, because we know that even if we grow a little bit slower, even if we don't necessarily become the biggest company in the space, we're going to be a successful, profitable company if we just make stuff that's great for our customers. And I think that's something that those two things together, innovation and putting your customer first, Put those two together and you really have a company that's well on its way to being successful and then being able to bring something of value to you and I while also being profitable. And I want to give you kind of an example of that. I used to work at a company called Apt Electronics in Glenview, Illinois. I got the pleasure and the privilege of working side by side with a guy named Robert Apt, who is no longer with us, unfortunately. But man, working next to him, I really think he is probably one of the best retail entrepreneurs to ever live. People came from all over the world, literally came from all over the world to see his store, to see his business. If you live in Chicago, you know what I'm talking about. You can see pictures of it online. This is unlike any other store that you've ever been to. And the reason I bring that up is working next to him was like getting several MBAs without having to actually go to school. Here's somebody who was living in the real world, running a very successful business that made a lot of money, but the customers absolutely love and innovated like I was talking about. And I remember we were walking the floor one night. He liked to stay late. And as one of the managers in the building, I mean, you got to stay late with him quite often. And we were talking about helping a customer out. And he had said to do something that was going to cost us, we were going to lose a ton of money on this customer. And I said, you know, Mr. App doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense to me. I'm like, we're going to lose a ton of money on this. And he stopped. And this is one of the best lessons he ever taught me. He looked at me, he said, Tim, I am not after the profit on this one sale. He said, I am after the profit on everything they buy for the rest of their life. I'm after the profit on everything their neighbors and their friends and their family buy for the rest of their lives. And if it costs me money on this sale to do the right thing for the customer, then that's what we're going to do. I don't care about this one individual transaction. I care about earning a customer for life. And if we do that, we will have a remarkably successful business. And that principle remains true among all businesses. And as you look out across the home gym space, I bet you guys can think of the companies who are thinking of profit first versus the companies who are thinking of you first, and because of that make a profit, right? You can tell just if you subscribe to newsletters, you can tell. Some of these companies, they literally email me 5 times a day. You left something in your cart, buy this, buy that, this is on sale, last chance to buy, and it's like, it's just buy, 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 right? And it's annoying, and they're clearly profit first centered. And their products aren't necessarily always all that great. Then the other companies are like, hey, here's an article on how to deadlift better. Here's an article on why you might want this type of safety on your rack. And then, you know, every 5th email, which by the way, doesn't come all in one day, they'll say, hey, by the way, we're having a sale and here's something we think you would like, right? That second approach, in a simplified term, that tends to work better. So when you're looking at the companies that I'm going to bring up today and talk about, I really think they do one or both of those things really well. They either innovate or they focus on their customer first, and then through that come up with great products, great service, and then by default will just naturally make a profit. So that's kind of the criteria that I use to pick these 7 companies. That's enough of my big bald head rambling about stuff, and let's get to the 7 companies. And we're gonna start off with the first company is one, when I originally wrote the outline for this episode, I had 6 companies on this outline, not 7. And I added the 7th because of what just happened with this company. And this company is a company called Kleva Built. Now, Kleva Built is a company that I've been a fan of for a while. I just bought the first one of my first Kleva Built product after seeing it at Home Gym Con last year. They make absolutely the best landmine in the world. It's awesome. It's this guy right here. Speaking of thinking of customers first, a lot of you guys have said, hey, stop talking about stuff and not showing it. So you're gonna see some changes in the podcast here pretty soon. And part of it's gonna be me actually showing you the things I talk about. So at least I can do that. This is a Kleva Built landmine. It's lined with polycarbonate. It has an aircraft grade ball joint in it. It is phenomenal. You'd never think that just something as simple as a landmine could be as good as it is. Well, they bring this level of quality and detail to every product they make. The issue was, as a small manufacturer, independently owned, made in the United States, they could only do so much, right? Well, recently, if you guys pay attention and you follow Rep Fitness at all, Rep Fitness just announced a partnership with Kleva Built. They have released a bunch of stuff partnering with Rep, and what that allows them to do is to scale much quicker. Now, I have heard some pushback from their customers going, hey, you know, they're going to have to change where they make it. Now they're going to make some of this stuff overseas. And the issue is when you're looking at getting a great product in front of a lot of people, you have two choices. And you guys have seen this if you've dealt with some of these small companies before. Some of these small companies decide, well, I'm going to scale on my own and I'm going to try and grow my business. And then you end up with, and this actually happened to Kleva Built. Their stuff was always out of stock. They made small batches. If you weren't able to order it when they had a small batch available, you weren't able to get one. So you literally would have to wait. I waited probably 6 to 7 months for these things to be in stock before I could even order one. And when you partner with a company like Rep, it allows you to take a product that's great and to scale it out and take advantage of marketing and production facilities that you didn't have access to before. And as a small entrepreneur, you couldn't afford to access. And it's really going to put great products in front of a lot larger number of people. Are there going to be a few changes here and there? I'm sure there are. But having personally known about Kleva for a while and worked with Rep for a while, I'm going to bet that that partnership, those agreements that they made, is going to maintain that level of quality and that level of innovation. And I think you're really going to be surprised with how good these products are. And a lot of you who have never heard of Kleva Built before will now be able to take advantage of these. So that said, I bought all the Kleva Built stuff from Rep. So that stuff's on its way. Again, I pre-ordered it. I'm not sure. I did ask my guy over at Rep. I said, hey, if you could get it to me a little bit earlier, because Gluck's going to have them right away. Coop's going to have them right away. So I'm like, I know you've got some. Just if you could send them to me so I could show people. But anyway, so I've got those on the way. I'm really excited about it. But that's something that a company that I added last minute to this list is Kleva Built, because when you take, like I said, that level of care, they care about you guys. They made products that were great for garage gym people. That was their focus first. They did not focus on profit first. They focused on making a great product. And now they combine that with the ability to take that great product and make a profit. And I think you're going to see big things from them. And because they've offloaded a lot to Rep, I think you're going to see the guys at Kleva Built, who's just, I believe it's just a husband and a wife that own the business, really be able to free up some of their time to do what they do well, which is come up with cool stuff. They make something called a gyre barbell platter or barbell storage thing. Check it out on their website. It's really cool. Rep's not making this, but they make some cool stuff is what I'm saying. So good luck to Kleva Built. I'm really looking at you guys in 2025, and I'm really excited to see what you come up with. Let's move on to company number 2. And before I tell you who company number 2 is, I want to share another story from Mr. Aft at Aft Electronics. And I remember we were going through the store. When you walk into the store, it's kind of very high-end feel. There's marble everywhere. There's Bellagio-style fountains. It's the largest freestanding saltwater aquarium in the Midwest. This place is massive. But we also carried a lot of just entry-level stuff, just like cheap stuff. And I remember him looking at me going, I said, why, we have all this nice stuff. Why do we carry these little tiny rinky-dink $8 alarm clocks and things like that? And he goes, because Tim, everybody in the world has a cheap something in their house, right? Every one of us has a cheap alarm clock or a cheap TV in a guest bedroom or a cheap chair in an office. We all have and in our gyms, we for sure have some cheap stuff, right? The issue is you don't want just cheap. The idea is to find something that's inexpensive, but still good. And that's where this company comes in, and that's RitFit. As you guys know, I worked a lot with them over the last year. You're gonna see me reviewing some more of their stuff. They are a budget level company, but I want you guys to go check out if you've got time. First of all, make sure and check this show out no matter what. My man, John Greaves over at Garage Gym Life, runs a show every Friday morning called It's the Way Too Early for a Friday Morning Live Stream Show podcast thing. I'm sorry, John. It's the Way Too Early for a Friday Morning something. And it's a live stream on Friday mornings. He's got several hundred people that watch, really good lively comment section, and he's got some great guests, really fun guy to watch. If you train early in the morning, it's a good thing to have on in the background. And the other day he had on the marketing director for RitFit. And I dealt with RitFit a lot, but I was really, really impressed by this interview. And to see what I'm talking about, just go watch that interview. But the gist is this: they are listening to their customers. So are they innovating? Kind of. I don't know that they make anything that, other people don't already make, but what they're doing is the way that they're innovating is they're making budget level products that are, and I love that he just came out and said this, they're good enough. They're safe enough. They're not trying to be something they're not. A lot of these budget companies, they come out, your Major Fitnesses of the world, your McCulloughs, your jacked up fitness, their claims are, we're the best. And it's like, no, you're not. So in RitFit's like, we're not the best. We're good enough for a lot of people who don't want to spend a ton of money, but they want something that's safe and they want something that works well and they want something that's going to last. And I think that approach is really going to serve them well in the coming year. I think, like I said, if you watch this interview, you'll understand, I think they really authentically care about their customer, and they're going to make a big profit on top of it, but they're really looking at what is going to be good for their customer. They're also looking at expanding their customers. They're saying, okay, the customer said this, what can we do to meet that need? And I'll tell you what, the hard thing for me to review RitFit products is by the time I have their product and then use it long enough to review it, they've got a version 2 on the market because they've already improved a bunch of the stuff that reviewers and users and customers have pointed out. You're not seeing those other budget level companies do that. And RitFit is listening to their customer. They're coming out with better stuff. And again, it's not going to be it's not Rogue, it's not Rep, it's not Titan, it's not Bells of Steel. It's that particular customer level. And I got to tell you what, there are a lot of folks out there like that, right? There's a lot of us, like I said, that own an inexpensive something. We just don't want to spend a ton of money on whatever it is, right? I think the best product right now that I think RitFit makes is their leg extension leg curl, and it's a few $100s. And I know a lot of people, they want a leg extension leg curl, but they're not going to spend $1,500 to get one. And I think that if you build a solid product like this, and it's really good, guys. Like I said before, affiliate link below, but it's a really good product at a really good price. And I think that if you can nail that down and they can continue to do this, they can continue to iterate, they're going to be bringing out some higher end stuff. They're going to be bringing out some 3x3 stuff. They're going to be bringing out some heavier gauge stuff. But I think what they're going to continue to do is to continue to improve this kind of budget level or value level product. And I bet that they explode because of that. So again, it's not for everybody. However, at least some of it is for at least some of you. And that's where RitFit is going to excel in 2025. And let's move on to the third company on the list. And the third company is one of those companies that I was talking about where I will be going to their warehouse and gym and production facility because they are local to me here in Illinois. They're about an hour away. And that is Weighted Out. Weighted Out is a company who makes weight plates. And you wouldn't think there would be a lot of innovation to be made in the realm of round metal discs that weigh a certain amount, but there is. And Weighted Out is the company that I saw at Home Gym Con, and I had the same question a lot of you guys did, which is, that's kind of dumb. Why would you do that? Like, why? I don't need weight plates. Who can fit that many weight plates on a barbell? Why would you need to do that? And after talking with them at the booth, and it was one of my most watched videos from Home Gym Con, was why do they make thin plates? And short story is, in powerlifting, they're very beneficial to have the weights closer to the center. And for home gyms and garage gyms to be able to store a lot of weight in a small amount of place, there's lots of other things and things that come up that they're useful for. I recommend them a lot for a lot of these plate loaded, you save a lot of money by buying plate loaded cable machines, plate loaded leg presses, things like that. However, the horns that the weights go on aren't big enough to fit normal sized bumper plates or even rubber plates. So you've got to find a good solution for thin plates to get the weight that you want. And basically that was a very long way of me saying that I think that people are finally starting to understand the product. And a lot of times with an innovative company and an innovative product, they have to make it through this first little stage of development where they have to kind of explain their customer to the customer base until the customers go, oh, I get it, kind of like I did at Home Gym Con. And a lot of people, when they first see these, they're like, why would you want that? They're not the least expensive plates in the world, but they serve a very important purpose for a lot of people. And now that you see people kind of getting it, you're seeing these plates everywhere. So that's something that I think they've really got going for them. I can't wait to go to their it's not a showroom. I think it's his factory / warehouse / gym. I can't wait to go and see what he's got going, because one of the cool things is, and another thing that I think really a lot of these companies have in common, not all of them, is the gentleman who owns Weighted Out actually lifts. And wow, can you tell when somebody who develops products actually lifts and when it's just an engineer trying to copy stuff. We talked about Me Too products. That is one of the big differentiators, is that a lot of these companies out there who are just trying to make a bunch of cheap stuff to hit the market the people who are designing their products do not lift, they do not work out, they do not train, they do not have garage gyms. And here is a company owned by somebody who does all of that. And he sponsors powerlifting meets. He's a like if you follow him on Instagram, he sends you videos as a fan from powerlifting meets. Yes, they're using his plates, but he's there because he's a fan. And that really goes a long way, because like I said, when you're focused on your customers because you love what you do, the money will come. And I think that's a place where Wait It Out is. The other cool thing is he's an innovator. A lot of entrepreneurs, what you'll find is they'll all tell you, I have no shortage of ideas, I just have shortage of time. And I think he's got a lot of really cool ideas. He's got what's called revolver fractional plates, which were a big hit at the show last year. Look those up if you don't know what those are. That's going to be a good example of some of the stuff he's coming out with. He's coming out with a full line of the world's thinnest bumper plates. And he's going to have to convince me when I go that they're not just rubber coated plates, but he says he's up for it. So I can't wait to go see why we can classify these as bumper plates. But this is what I'm talking about. He's innovating, he's doing new stuff. And I think the momentum that he's gained just in the last year is huge. And I think you're going to be seeing these guys a lot. So in 2025, look for Wait It Out. If you need thin plates for a variety of reasons, check them out. They make the best ones in the world. And aesthetically, I can't wait to see, she's working on some cool finishes. Anyway, you guys get the idea. I really like Wait It Out. I really think they're going to do a lot of good stuff in the upcoming year. Let's get on to the next company. And boy, talk about a company who lifts, and you can tell that they lift, and you can tell that they care about their customers, but this one's not a small company. This one's kind of a mid-sized garage gym company, and it's somebody who has been around for a long time. A lot of you guys are fans, and that is Fringe Sport. Fringe Sport's out of Austin, Texas. The owner, Pete Keller, is an awesome guy. The entire company lifts. The entire company is involved in relating to you and I and to getting feedback from you and I. One of the differences I saw when I walked around at Home Gym Con last year is some companies, just going to throw them under the bus. I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just how they ran their booths. But people like Titan, people like Rogue, they hired a bunch of people to work their booth. And they were helpful and they were nice and they could answer questions on the products. But they were just kind of reps, right? It was just like walking into a store that happened to be at a convention. There were other companies, Bells of Steel, Rep Fitness, Wait It Out, Kleva Built, and Fringe Sport. The owners were there. The product designers were there. The marketing managers were there. And they weren't there because they had nothing better to do. They were there because they wanted to talk to us. And I really think that shows that Fringe Sport, even though they're a bigger company, are absolutely laser focused on what does their customer want. And a couple good examples of this. Number one, the Fringe Sport Dane is a product that it checks all the boxes for what a lot of garage gym owners want. And they could not and would not have built that product if they weren't talking to people like you and I about our space constraints, about our budget constraints, about our training needs. And boy, they combined all of that in one really cool package. Another one that I think is an odd example that nobody ever brings up, but I always look at on their website, is they make some really good barbells, but they don't make a million barbells. They make a handful of barbells. They make one of the most popular multi-purpose barbells in the world, the Wonder Bar, which has been a hit for many, many years. They make their Midas Revenge bar, which is an amazing all-purpose powerlifting bar. They make a great curl bar. They make a couple of bars. They make a handful of really, really good bars. They're not trying to go at, it's a company going after profit first would make 500 bars for Rogue. And that is a profit first move. That doesn't help anybody, right? To have somebody go on, especially if you're just starting to build a garage gym, and to have 87 different barbells to choose from doesn't help. When I go to Fringe Sport, I know I'm going to get a quality product. I know I'm going to get something that lasts. And I know I'm going to get something that is going to serve the purpose I buy it for, and I'm not going to have to pick from 50. They're like, oh, you want a power bar? Here's the power bar you should buy. And I think that when you're talking about thinking about customers first, that type of approach really, really, really goes a long way. So I appreciate that about them. I appreciate their innovation. And I think that as long as they've been around, I think they're really starting to figure some stuff out, and they're really starting to look at, instead of doing a lot of things, doing a few things well. Another really good example is if you are in the market for bumper plates, Fringe Sport bumper plates, this is agreed upon industry-wide, except for maybe by their competitors. Fringe Sport bumper plates are the best bumper plates you can buy. There's just no competition. They're better in almost every way. And they just instituted a lifetime warranty on all of them. Who gives a lifetime warranty on 10-pound bumper plates? Fringe Sport does, because they know that that's what's important to their customers. And again, back to that Mr. App story. Is that the best overall, most sound financial decision for the company? No, they're going to lose a couple of dollars here and there when they replace people's 10-pound plates, right? But is that person who just got a new set of 10-pound plates going to buy everything they buy from Fringe going forward? There's a good chance they might do that. There's a good chance they're going to tell their friends and family to do that. And that's why I've got them as a company to watch in 2025. I'm really seeing awesome things from them, and from a customer service perspective, from an innovation perspective. And man, I really, really like their stuff. I'm hoping to bring you a lot from Fringe Sport this year, at least the stuff that I can, and looking forward to that. And I hope you are too. And this next one, company number 5, is somebody who I had not heard of before Home Gym Con. I fell in love with at Home Gym Con. I've talked to the owner a little bit back channel on Instagram. I've been watching what they're doing. A bunch of their products are on my I want it list, and that is Black Widow training gear. Black Widow training gear is at the stage where I think Kleva Built was a year ago. He's gaining some momentum. He's gaining a lot of customer awareness. He's innovating. Honestly, I think he probably makes a few too many products right now, but there's a ton of really good products that he makes. He's going to be building custom racks. And this is a company that I think that this is something that I think weighted out shares is not everybody needs to cater to everybody. Something that really marks a successful company is they know their particular niche of customers and they're marketing to them. And I think that right now in the garage gym space, like I said, there's lots of people doing the same thing. When I walked through Home Gym Con last year, it was like power rack, power rack, power rack, power rack, but barbell, 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 like it was a lot of the same stuff. And then you got to the Black Widow booth, who had made a custom color scheme, gigantic setup just for Home Gym Con with all of these little cool custom details and touches and cutouts and thoughtful accents and thoughtful approaches to things, and just things that you don't think about unless A, you really care about what you're doing and you really care about what you're making, and B, you really care about who you're making it for. The issue that's going to be with Black Widow is, can they scale? And I think that he's in a good position. If you look on his website, when I wasn't sure if my new rack was going to come, I started to really consider who would I buy a rack from. And the first person that came to my mind was Black Widow. Now, Black Widow doesn't currently have an affiliate program that I know about. I wasn't going to buy it because I thought I could recommend it to you guys so that you could buy it through affiliate links, which, by the way, there's affiliate links down below. Remember that? But anyway, I wanted to get one because I really, in the end, when I'm building a gym that I love and that I want to train in every day, there's very few people that I can think of that I would want to build a rack that's custom outside of Black Widow. And right now on his website, he says, until we get our rack builder up, we're not accepting any racks. And I think what that means, and I could be wrong, is he's figured out a way to scale and to start offering custom racks to a larger segment of customers. And boy, once you hit that kind of inflection point, I really expect you to see big things. So while I expect to see big things from him in 2025, no matter what, if he can get this custom rack thing together and really start putting out some cool custom stuff, man. And oh, by the way, start an affiliate program and send me a rack. Anyway, but I really think that he's going to do some good stuff. So check out Black Widow training gear. I really think that they're awesome. And I really think that I probably shouldn't say I really think so much anymore. But let's get on to the next company. And the next company is one of the bigger ones on this list, and that's Bells of Steel. And boy, Bells of Steel has really kind of wormed their way into my heart. It's why I wore their sweatshirt for this video. Of all of these companies, I've changed my opinion on them the most over the last 2 years. When they first came on the market, the best way to put this is, going back to another Mr. App story, is every successful entrepreneur I've ever known, and I've worked with a lot of them, I've worked for a lot of them, I've had a lot of them for customers in my previous life. One thing they all share in common is their approach to business is ready, fire, aim. A lot of people, the reason they don't succeed is they go ready, aim, 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 aim. Oh, it's too late to fire, never mind. Successful people go, let's get something to market and we'll iterate and we'll deal with the problems there. And I think that Bells of Steel early on felt the pain of that approach. But it tells me, number one, that Kevon, the owner, is your traditional successful entrepreneur. The other thing those people always have in common is they, for somehow, some way, they always find a way to make things work, right? So one of the things that I saw Bells do is early on they released really some not great products. If you watch my channel, if you watch Gluck's channel, if you watch Garage Gym Reviews, they really didn't get any good reviews, I don't think, at first. The difference is that they were thankful for those bad reviews. They took those bad reviews and made changes. They wanted us to look at the stuff and go, what's wrong with it? Because Kayvon, now that I look back on it, wanted us to do the aiming, right? He's like, all right, here's a product. Tell me what needs to be different. And I don't think that they share that approach anymore, because I think that they really felt the pain for that. And I think that hurt them at first. But what I've seen them do is really hire some incredibly good product designers. Kayvon's kind of like a mad scientist type guy. If you go to Home Gym Con in 2025 in Louisville, you'll definitely meet him. I'd be shocked if he wasn't there. And he is a cool guy, but he's one of these guys with more ideas than time. And he's put himself in a position where he's like, I've got this idea, team, go do this. I've got this idea, team, go do that. And you're seeing from Bells right now a lot of innovation. You're seeing their rack attached Smith machine with two really cool features. Number one, it can angle. Number two, it can accept your own barbell, which is a big miss on most Smith machines. But I think that they're doing some stuff that, not only that, the Dread Mill, there's just some really cool products. And some of them are going to be hits and some of them aren't going to be hits. I think maybe the Dread Mill version 3 might be a better hit than the first two versions, but they're going to iterate, they're going to do things over time, and they're going to do it based on what's going to be helpful to you and I. He's not making this stuff because it's profitable. If he was worried about profit first, he wouldn't have released some of the early products that he released. He's worried about making stuff that is good for you and I. And I think that they've really, like I said, I've changed my opinion on them the most of any company. And I've gone from really kind of like, is this kind of a crappier version of the old Titan Fitness, to, wow, I kind of look at them as the get her done company. The neat thing about Bells is I don't think they're ever going to be the Black Widow training gear custom rack solution with all, I don't think they're going to be that. Although they have this thing called bougie bolts, which I'm for sure going to buy for my rack when it comes in. Check those out. So they've got some cool higher end touch type things coming out. But I think in the end, they're just going to be the blue collar, get her done. Let's build something that's good, that's solid. You know, their rack line, their Hydra rack series is amazing. It's a good example of that. I've got their Hydra barbell over here, which I'm really loving. There's just some things that it's like, it ain't fancy. It's not going to be the prettiest product in your gym always, but man, it's going to get the job done. It's going to be at a good, reasonable price. It ships fast. You know, they ship from Indianapolis, so they can ship quickly to pretty much anywhere in the country. And I think overall that all of those things put together, for me, make Bells of Steel a company to watch. Because like I said, they're not just making a ton of new stuff, but I think they finally changed their approach where they might do a little bit of aiming before they fire, so that we get better products up front and we don't have to worry about waiting to a V2. I know for Titan, for the longest time, it probably still says this on my website, that anything you buy from Titan, never buy a V1, because you know that they're going to have all kinds of problems. And that, I think that Bells has kind of hopefully gotten past that hurdle. And I can't wait to see what they come out with in 2025. I can't wait to see their booth at Home Gym Con this year. But that's another company to watch. And that is going to bring me to the number 7 company, who is really, I think, going to make the biggest splash this year. I really think so. They're going to be the biggest impact in the market. I think they're going to really, man, can I say really any more than I have been today? I think they're going to just do a great job. And that is a company out of Germany that you can't even buy in the US right now. And that company is ATX. ATX is like if you were to go to the Mercedes-Benz F1 racing team and say, make home gym gear. It's awesome. Every detail is perfect. Every detail is well thought out. It's a German company. It is clearly German engineering in home fitness gear. Every little texture, every bolt head, every color combination, every function, the way things move, the way things feel, the way that they stitch their benches, just everything about them is unique and sets them apart in the marketplace. When you talk about innovative, that's these guys. When we talk about a company who knows their niche and knows their customers that they're going after, that's these guys. These guys aren't going after the RitFit customers. These guys aren't going after the Bells of Steel customers. These guys are going after the folks who have the money, who want the absolute best. Not the best because they sponsored all kinds of stuff, not the best because they have the biggest marketing budget, but the best because when you get on this gear, you're like, oh, This is literally the best, whatever it is. When I was at their booth at Home Gym Con last year, I tried their bench. That was the best adjustable bench I'd ever used for a bunch of different reasons. I tried their cable machines, best cable machines I'd ever used. Their lat pull down low row, best one of those I'd ever, like every single thing that I used from them that was a machine was hands down just the best one. And it wasn't even close, right? It was just, like I said, it was if the Mercedes-Benz F1 team made home gym equipment, that's ATX. And ATX in 2025 is coming to the United States. And I can't wait. I can't wait to see what they do in this market. I can't wait to see what equipment they bring, what products they bring. And I can't wait to see their booth this year at Home Gym Con. It's going to be one of the biggest booths there. I think this is going to mark their announcement of their arrival into the United States. Their website for the last year has said coming soon to the US. I'm hoping that this is going to be it. And if they do come to the US in 2025, I guarantee you they are the company to watch in the home and garage gym space in 2025. And there you have it, guys, the 7 companies to watch in 2025. And I just want to wrap this up by making one recommendation to all of you. If you watch or listen, and yes, you can listen to this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon, but if you watch or listen to home gym or garage gym podcasts and YouTube videos, then that means you're a home gym or garage gym equipment dork like I am. And if you are that person, if that describes you, you owe it to yourself to go to Home Gym Con in 2025. 2024 was amazing. You missed out, but I'm telling you right now, when we talk about inflection points, and I've talked about inflection points in this episode quite a bit, this is the inflection point year for Home Gym Con. This is the year where it goes from Jake from Garage Gym Experiment, who's done an amazing job the first 2 years, goes from figuring things out, kind of got it figured out, to it's figured out, right? This is going to be an amazing event. You're going to see all of our all the folks from YouTube are going to be there, and the people are amazing. You get to spend the weekend geeking out about home gym gear. Like I said, there's well over 100 vendors that are going to be there. You're going to be able to buy some stuff there. You're going to be able to see stuff. It's the only place that most of us in the United States will be able to go to see all of the stuff we want to buy for our home gym. And I'm telling you, like the ATX booth, you're in for some surprises. Like the Black Widow booth that I was talking about, you're in for some surprises. A lot of people out there, they kind of default to, I'm planning on building a home gym and I really like Rep, so I'm just going to buy all Rep stuff. And Rep's great. I'm a huge Rep Fitness fan. But when you go to Home Gym Con and you get to put your hands on this stuff, I'm telling you, you're going to find a barbell that you never knew you wanted. You're going to find weight plates that you fall in love with. You're going to find machines that are just, you'll never get to use them unless you're someplace like this. And people, like I said, that yes, some of them will send their reps, but most of them, it's the owners. It's the people who own the companies who want to talk to you, who want to hear your feedback. And I'm telling you, it's not expensive to go. So it's the tickets, when you talk about trade shows, the tickets aren't that expensive. And it's in Louisville this year, so it's going to be in a cool city. Make a vacation out of it, spend a few days there. I really think, like I said, if you don't go to Home Gym Con this year, I'm not affiliated. I don't make a dollar if you go to Home Gym Con. I'd love to see you there. I'll be there. I can't wait to meet a lot of you guys. But man, if you don't go, I'm telling you, you're going to regret it. And that is all I've got for this episode. Hey, I really appreciate you guys hanging out. I really appreciate you tuning into these podcasts all the time. It means a lot. Heading into 2025, I've got a lot of cool stuff planned. I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. You can expect an episode every Monday, unless I get hit by a car. Let's hope that doesn't happen. And then I'll probably do it from my hospital room. But with all that said, like I said, thanks for hanging. I appreciate y'all. And until next podcast, I am Tim from GymCrafter.